Me.
Just you, really?
Good morning. Today, Algebra 2, D3, we're going to evaluate functions. Do not make this difficult. It is not. Don't. It is asking for you to do minimal work. Okay, it says use the following function rule to find, this is pronounced f of 9. Okay, f of 9. If this is pronounced f of 9, then this is pronounced f of x. And f of x equals 3 plus 10x. If this is pronounced f of x, well, and this is pronounced f of 9, what replaced the x? The 9 did. So if 9 replaces the x here, then it's going to replace the x everywhere it is over here. So f of 9 equals 3 plus 10. There's an x. So instead of the x, I'm going to put a parentheses and I'm going to put a 9 in its place. Okay, now all you do, f of 9 equals, you do not add here, okay? You have to do your multiplication before you do your addition. So bring the 3 down. 10 plus 10 times 9 is 90. F of 9 equals 93. This is asking for f of 9. We have f of 9, 93, 93. That's all you do, okay? You do not divide by the 9 at the end. It is not asking for f. It's asking for f. We want f by itself, but this is asking for f of 9. So basically, whatever's in here, you're going to put it in here, and then you're just going to do the right-hand side and forget about the left-hand side. Okay, so what's going to replace the x? The 27. So everywhere there's an x over here, we're going to put a 27 in its place. So the 3 stays. The 27 on top stays. And that x is replaced with 27. Well, 27 over 27 is 1. So 3 minus 1, 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 is your answer. Same thing. So negative 10 plus what replaces x? 20 replaces x all over 10. 20 divided by 10 is 2. So negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. Okay. What's going to replace x? 3 is going to replace x. So here's your x. So put a 3 instead of it. Plus 7. And the 2 is still up there. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Do, if you can, do whatever's inside the parentheses first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 plus 7. We're going to keep the 2 because we haven't done anything with it. This means 2 squared, or I'm sorry, 10 squared, or 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. F of 1 equals 3 times 1 plus 1 squared. Oops, never mind. I was on the wrong one. F of 3 equals 7. This is absolute value. I'll go over that in just a second. 3 minus 10. Okay, so the absolute value means whatever the answer to the absolute value problem is positive. It doesn't make everything inside the absolute value positive because you have to do the operation first. So the 7 is on the outside. We're not worried about it yet. We're not worried about the absolute value yet because there's something to do inside. We're going to do 3 minus 10. 3 minus 10 is negative 7. So now that we have the negative 7, we're going to take the absolute value of it. And the absolute value just means the positive of negative 7. It's the distance from -7 to 0, and distance is always positive. So this 7 is on the outside. The absolute value of -7 is 7, but since these are next to each other, we are going to multiply them and get 49. F of 62, 10 square root of 62 plus 59, 10 square root. We have to do inside the square root before we take the square root. So 121. Square root means what was multiplied by itself to get 121? And the answer is 11. Since nothing is between the 10 and the square root, we are multiplying them. So the square root of 121 is 11, so we're going to multiply 11 and 10. Okay. That being said, let's go to here, just in case you didn't know what the square root of 121 is. So we're going to turn the calculator on. And this, let me a little bit better shot. I'm sorry about the glare. I have no idea how to fix it. Anybody wanted to tutor me in this information, that would be great. Okay, so the square root is above the x squared button. If it's above the x squared button, then you have to hit the second button first to be able to get to the square root. So the square, see it says second up there, which means a shift. So x squared, there's your square root, 121, and the answer is 11. So that's how you take the square root of it. Okay. All right, here we go. So f of 1 equals 3 times 1 plus 1, and then we're going to square it. Going to square last because we've always worked from the inside out. The 2 is on the very outside. Excuse me. So we have to do what's on the inside first. Because there's multiplication and addition, we're going to do the multiplication first, not because it's written first, but because it's multiplication. 3 times 1 is 3. Bring the 1 down. Now we're going to do 3 plus 1, 4. The only thing left to do is square it. 4 squared is 16. 4 squared means 4 times 4, okay? Or 4, and here is your x squared button. That looks exactly what I just had. Parentheses are your friends with calculators, I promise you. And 16. F of -3. The absolute value of -3, then we're going to subtract 1. The absolute value of -3 is +3 because the distance from -3 to 0 is 3. We're going to bring down the -1. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 is your answer. Okay. So that all of those are very, very doable. This is when you got to be very careful, okay? This is pronounced h of j equals -9j plus 8. What's replacing j? Well, whatever this says is replacing j. So 3z plus 9 is replacing j. So everywhere there's a j, we're going to put 3z plus 9 instead. So h, 3z plus 9 equals -9, because that's what that is. -9 and j is together, so I'm going to put a parentheses, and I'm going to put 3z plus 9 because that's all J was plus 8. This doesn't matter anymore. Forget about it. All you're doing is simplifying this side. You cannot put this 3 and this 9 together because they are not like terms. We are not adding them because they are not like terms. This has a z. This does not have a z. You cannot add them together. So we're going to distribute. Negative 9 times positive 3 is negative 27. Negative 9 times positive 9 is negative 81. We are not going to multiply negative 9 and 8 because the parentheses stopped. That's when you stop the multiplying. So we're going to bring the 8 down. These two are like terms because they do not have z's. This has a z. So it just comes down. Negative 81 plus 8, negative 73. Had to think about that one. All right, that's it. And this one. What's going to replace A? 8v. There are two a's here, so in both spots we're going to put 8v. Okay, this one's being squared. The square goes on the outside. Minus 10 plus 7. A squared minus 10a plus 7. What goes in the a spot? 8v. Okay. You can't put this in the calculator and square it because it has a letter, it has a variable, okay? But you can do 8 squared. 8 squared is 64, not 16. But the v is being squared also, so v squared. Negative 10 times 8. This has v squared. This just has a v, and this doesn't have any v's. There are no like terms. We cannot put anything else together. That's your answer. Closure. To evaluate a function, whatever this is you're going to place the x, which is going to place that x also, and then you would just finish off the right-hand side.